Good evening, THL. Welcome to Animal Crossing Center. Happy to be here with you tonight. I am Donde, and I'm joined as always by LotusKnight. Lotus, how are you on this evening?
I'm doing well, Donde. It's been a bit hard on the deserted island, but things are fine.
That's good to hear. Glad you're doing fine. And joining us as guests this evening, we've got our two match contestants later tonight, Markshire and Itachi. Markshire, I'll start with you. Markshire, how are you? You are muted, my friend.
Great call. Yep, I was muted. I'm doing well, and thank you, Donde, for getting the correct Twitter tag because I did recently change.
You did. You changed it, and I'm glad I looked.
Mm-hmm.
And Itachi, first appearance on HearthCenter. Glad you're here. I'm sorry, Animal Crossing Center. How are you this evening?
Pretty good. It's a little bit wet. I didn't know have never been on HearthCenter, so good to be here.
Glad you are here. So as always, we'll be talking about the most most important Animal Crossing things tonight, like how to do menial work, when they're going to institute their new rank system, and of course endgame loot strategies on your island. I don't think any of us have actually played Animal Crossing at all. Is that correct?
Nope.
Not at all. I know.
No.
Markshire plays like literally no other video games besides Hearthstone, so that's.
I actually play RuneScape now. So,
I'm
old school.
Been cutting into my Hearthstone time.
So instead of playing new video games, you play like 30-year-old video games.
Yep, I play the 2007 version of the game. So
His name in game is Zazima.
Oh my goodness. Alright, well, we've had our April Fool's fun. So let's go ahead and actually talk about what we're going to do tonight. So we're going to recap what happened in the semifinals. That was last week in Pro. We'll talk about FTL and A.E.O.N seasons and how they got to the finals. And then we'll do our finals predictions not only for overall, for the entirety of the series, but for tonight's match, Markshire versus Itachi. Lotus, you're pretty much the only person who's impartial. So you're probably going to have to... We're going to lean on you a little bit in that segment for actual, thought that isn't completely biased, but that's fine.
That would be fair, yes.
So that being said, let's start with last week. I'll bring that up on the screen so everybody can see how these two teams fared in the semifinals. We'll start with FTL right at the top there. They won 14-8 over the Unknown in a match that they completed in four games. So Berserk, Liquid Ox, and Itachi, you guys all got wins. Solo Jazz did manage to beat Snake, and then Rabobson and Desharmo did not have to play. So Itachi, I'll start with you since it's your team. You want to talk a little bit about how that match went there, and how did you guys feel about that going in and the result there?
It was a little bit weird because I was prepping for this series and also Legacy Series finals, which I'm on a team with Ron. So trying to manage playing in both series and not giving away too much information to Ron while I was prepping in Legacy and also trying to win in Legacy was a little bit difficult, but I think we pulled out a really good analysis of our opponents. We pretty much pegged everyone except I think maybe Solo Jazz caught us on one thing with the Warlock. Other than that, we pretty much had everyone down.
It's always nice when you have a plan, it works, and then not only do you have that plan and it works, but then you get into the game and you execute properly, and you get your wins. So there's nothing worse than figuring out your opponent's lineup and then completely just whiffing and losing anyway. But you guys did what you had to do, and I know you lost to the Unknown during the regular season. So was there anything that you tried to do differently this time around that you think worked better?
No, I don't. Not necessarily. I think we were pretty. I think maybe there was some stuff going on that week. I know that when I played against the Unknown last time, I played against Catman, and I was like at work, like trying to close the store and also playing Catman at the same time. So like there was a bunch of weird stuff, and I think we lost by like a point. It was 14-15 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 1 point loss.
So yeah, it was a little bit of. I took the blame for that loss because I felt like I probably should have won that matchup, but that was that.
Yeah, it's hard to always pin it on one single person. I always feel the same way when I lose and my team loses. I look to myself and say, like, this is my fault. But it's you can't do that to yourself. But what's important is you guys got the win in the playoffs, which is win or go home, and you're still alive. The Unknown, good season for them, 2 seasons in a row making the playoffs, and in fact, they Did they win it all last season, or I think they were the winner? No,
Everyone says,
they were in the
why
finals.
does everyone do that?
That was a finals rematch, wasn't it? You guys won.
Yeah.
But our second match was sorry, I didn't mean to insult. Is A.E.O.N versus Tap Last, and we did manage to get the win over Tap Last. And much like you guys, we actually lost to them in the regular season by a point as well. So Ridiculous Hat fell to Heat Shock, which is kind of a surprise considering how much of a role he'd been on. And I lost to C-Mac. Typhoon, though, with a big sweep over Nerdstrom on Sunday night. Cole's got a win over Valdis, and Markshire got the win over Bill Snyder. So Markshire, I'll start with you on this one. How did you feel? I know you led the series off just like you're doing tonight with a big win there, and then we kind of let you down a little bit in the middle of the week.
Yeah. Well, so last week, y'all played first, right? And then I ended up playing third, having to get the win to keep us alive in the playoffs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking of the week prior. I apologize.
Yes, I think that's the week prior, but yeah, I mean it definitely felt a little bit nervous. It's never great to be down 0-2 in matches, and with it being a 1-3 and a 2-3, I think we had maybe a slight chance that if there was like a tie or something, it could go the other way, maybe winning only 2 matches. But it was nice to finally get that win over Bill, and then Typhoon and Coles were able to clutch it out. I know Coles in particular, I think, ended up having like a really his match went to 5 games. He had, I think, a really long game against Valdis. That was
90
really
plus minutes
for the game 5. Yeah, which doesn't it's been a while since I've had a 90 plus minute match. So yeah, but that was good. And going to the finals, I have no doubt that the Hat and Donde both will have better showings.
Oh, I mean, the only way for me to have a better showing would be to win, because I did go to 5 at least.
True,
but
true.
But yeah, no, that was a tough one. And going into that 5th match on stream too against C-Mac, I had been thinking he was going to bring Control Warrior just because that's kind of what he's known for, and he didn't. He brought Galakron Warrior, and then I was just completely out of sorts on my lineup, and I was in a very, very negative matchup in Game 5, and it still felt like I could have gotten there, but lost it towards the end. So, congrats to him on the win, but we did advance, so I'm happy about that. Lotus, you were obviously, as we mentioned, impartial, so I'll let you just kind of take the floor. Thoughts on both of these matches?
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. I think both are great teams. FTL and A.E.O.N showed what they were up to this season, and both of them got so many points, and they were first and second, and they are keeping up for the finals. I will say this week there were not that many surprising results. I think Solo Jazz and Heat Shock have been doing amazing, and they kind of continue doing that. All the ones for Pro are just insane right now. An interesting note for this one, I will say, is the number of mages just skyrocketing, especially in the A.E.O.N Tap last match, where everyone brought mage. It just shows how mage was supposed to be a lot stronger in a post-Leroy world, and it actually is. Mage is doing really well right now. So definitely something there.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of made the read on that one, but that wasn't too hard to really see. I would imagine a lot of people looked at the list and just said, hey, nothing got really removed from this deck, so it's still the same. And that first few days after, I know Markshire, or I'm not sorry, Markshire, Itachi, I know you played before the not nerfs, the rotation, the little mini rotation there, or reversion of some of the cards. So you were kind of in a little different meta, but did that play into your decision on your lineup last week at all? Like, were you shooting for Wednesday specifically to try to avoid that?
No, with the way that kind of things are, I work in grocery, so the way that things are, my work schedule is very like strenuous currently. So I just wanted to play at a time that was convenient for both of us. And so that fit both of our times. And I did kind of push the issue on like playing Brushy before the rotation, just because on Thursday through Sunday is like the busiest time of the week. So it was less about the rotation and more about like my schedule just being a little bit more open, so I'd have time to focus.
And well, thank you for being out there for all of us who are stuck at home. And I know you're unfortunately not, but it is very, very much appreciated what you're doing for everybody out there in this time.
Fun times, I'm telling you. It's fun times.
I can completely understand. I imagine But yeah, let's switch gears a little bit here. Instead of just talking about last week, let's go back and talk about how FTL and A.E.O.N got to this point as a whole here. So, 11-week regular season, pretty grueling by THL standards, much longer than most seasons, especially for Legacy and Hero this time around. So it really kind of, a few bad weeks didn't necessarily doom a team, which is great in the long run, but it does make for a bit of a grind. So we have just kind of a look back here on how each team progressed. So I'm going to pull that up on screen for everyone to see. I don't know if you guys have looked back at all at the team schedules and the results in the early part of the season, but this is what it looked like. So just starting with FTL, because they're on the left there, just got out of the gates on fire with 4 straight wins. Defias, Bad to the Bone, and A.E.O.N, as we talked about. Or as we have yet to talk about, actually, we're going to talk about that, and the other guys. So those were all strong wins, with A.E.O.N getting the most points against you, but only 11. So most weeks you were able to hold teams pretty low, with Unknown really being the only team that cracked 15 on you. And you had back-to-back losses there in the middle of the season, but ended up finishing with 3 straight wins, including a crushing win over Propane Gang, 20-3. So Itachi, any thoughts on who did you feel was the strongest opponent you faced all season? And I guess was there any worry going into the matchups, or any particular matchup for you guys?
I think the strongest opponent that I faced this season was the Flu, because it's if you look at week 8, FTL versus Tap Last. I had to no contest that match, which wasn't even my decision necessarily. I probably could have taken a DQ loss there. I was planning on playing Bill Snyder, and then I had the flu that whole week. I was super sick. I think that was the week I came back from DreamHack, and I just had the con flu. I fell asleep. I woke up at our match time, exactly on the dot, and I was like, "Hey, you got to give me 30 minutes. I got to get myself together." And then I fell back asleep and never woke back up. Other than that, all of our matches were really, really. I won't say they were all close. They weren't all close, but they were all well fought by every one of the opponents. 11 weeks was like you said, a really long series by THL standards for sure. Most tournaments are about 11 rounds, or if that much. So being able to go 8-3 over 11 weeks is really good. And everybody being able to maintain positive win rates, no one losing more than 4 matches is really good. So it's a testament to how much prep we put in and how much work we put in over the season, knowing where we wanted to get back to the finals. So here we are.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like you mentioned there, week 8 was the only week you guys scored in single digits, and it was because you didn't have a full slate of games. Had you played 5, I'm going to feel comfortable saying you would have at least picked up probably a game, which meant every single week.
We took a DQ that week too. I think Berserk DQ.
Yeah.
Oh, so even worse, yeah.
Contest and a DQ loss in the same week, which just hasn't really happened in pro for anyone else. At least I don't think it did this season. Just weird stuff.
But that's obviously a recipe for success. They're scoring, other than that week, 12 points was your lowest score. If you're going to put up 12 points a week, that's more than fine to at least make the playoffs, if not be the number 1 seed like you were. And then you look at A.E.O.N across the board, a pretty similar kind of scenario there. We had a lot of very close games, even where we won, A.E.O.N against Beard Boys 13-12, for example, in week 7, and then Menagerie in week 8, 15-13. But we did have kind of that little bit of a speed bump with week 10, where we were the 1 seed going into week 10, and the Unknown held us to 9 points total. And it actually went from us being thinking we were going to end up being the top seed to wondering if we were even going to make the playoffs in week 11. And I know I was personally worried about it. Markshire, how did you kind of handle that week mentally?
Yeah, no, it was definitely tough, because like you said, we're the 1 seed ever since, I guess, so we started the season 1 and 2, right? Losing to Bad to the Bone, losing to FTL. And then after that, we're winning all of our games up until week 10. And, when you're on a 5-6 game win streak at the top of the standings, you're like, oh yeah, we definitely have it. We're definitely making playoffs. But getting held to single digits was rough, and we kind of barely scraped by. So there was definitely a moment where I thought we could miss out. And at that point, I think FTL had already clinched it to the playoffs. But yeah, no, it was tough, and then took care of work in the semis.
Yeah, semis was even more harrowing than week 11, just because of the way it started. Was pretty poor for us, with myself and Ridiculous Hat losing. And Hat has stumbled a little bit the last few weeks too. He was, I believe, 9-1, and he's 9-3 now. So we could really use him getting back on track since he's been such a big rock at the top of our lineup. And he keeps telling me that he wants me to take the 2 seed from him, or take the 1 seed from him, and then he kept winning. And I think he just finally took it serious and was like, you know what, whatever, I'm going to lose now. But this is not the time to do that. And I'm not even the 2 seed anymore. Typhoon passed me. So, thanks to him, he joined the team, and he's been a force to be reckoned with. He's slowly climbing up now, all the way from the 5 to the 2. But
yeah, Typhoon has been such a huge pickup. He came in I want to say week 5, and has only dropped 1 game since, and you see that just like very highly correlated with us starting our win streak in the middle of the season. So definitely a great guy to have, and clutched it out for us in the semis, getting a sweep to clinch it.
Yeah, Mako played week 4, and then he was kind of overwhelmed. He was playing in all 3 series, and he decided that he couldn't handle playing in all 3, so he kind of peeled back his schedule a little bit by getting subbed out in pro. But yep, it did end up being pretty advantageous for us because Typhoon became available that same week, and we snatched him up pretty fast. So that was nice. But before we move on, Lotus, anything you want to say? Any trends? Anything you see here, or any questions you have about the season that was for these 2 teams?
So I think I have a question for both of you. From the season so far, what's the biggest lesson you guys think you made on how to build a team, or what led you guys here? What would you say was a key concept that helped you guys get to this?
Lots of at everyone's.
Yeah, I'd say in a similar vein to that, just the fact that everyone on the team is super active on Discord. I mean, obviously, everyone except Typhoon is on the board, so that's kind of a given. Everyone's like always.
Shout out to Desharma for spurring us.
Yeah, and for next season too, apparently, which is just sad that we won't have a full board team, but yeah, and I think, and that's something that has held true for basically every team I've been on in the past, is just people who are active, who are communicating a lot, just players that you can talk about random stuff that isn't about Hearthstone and still enjoy it. I think that's
Yeah, I think for me, this is the first season I've played on a team with anybody on A.E.O.N other than Coles, who I've played every season with. But that's a little different since we're friends in real life too. But it's nice because you do, like you said, you get that kind of same brain mentality across the team. Everybody kind of has similar thoughts on decks, similar thought. You want a little bit of difference because you don't want everybody to just think the same, and then you get predictable. But at the same time, you have people who know how to take advantage of each other's strengths. They start to learn what classes and what decks you like to play. I think that really helps us kind of bond and make cohesive choices week in and week out. So yeah, I liked the team dynamic a lot, and I think we took it seriously. We obviously came to win every week, but I don't think we went overboard in terms of keeping a decent balance, life and Hearthstone, so to speak, and not going too crazy. But yeah, so that's what happened this season. So of course we want to talk about what we think is going to happen tonight and the rest of the week. I'm just going to throw it out there to start with. A.E.O.N's winning it all. Itachi, I'll let you respond first.
A.E.O.N is very capable of winning it all, but just because you're capable doesn't mean that you're going to do it. So
that's true. And Hearthstone is very well known for that.
So I think it's going to be a great match. I know that you guys prep very well. You guys have strong records across the board. The board.
Nice.
But we also prep very well. We also have strong records across the board. And nobody likes A.E.O.N, so
yeah, what's up with that? Everyone hates
That
us.
is true.
Yeah, seems to be the way that it is.
Well, let's take
I
a
do want to know that
Oh,
if
yeah.
the board team wins, it is technically considered as cheating.
Is it? Is it what technicality?
I don't know.
We have the rules person here to answer that one.
That's true.
There's nothing in the rules that says the board team cannot win the championship. So
I just don't think it's ever happened.
yeah, there was an SHL team. Maybe they didn't actually win. There was an SHL team Hat was on that was like at least 3 or 4 board members, and I thought they won, but they might have lost in the championship.
They definitely lost because
It was a while ago.
I was in Hat's stream today, and I asked him when the last time he won a THL championship was, and he said never. So
okay.
they definitely didn't win because he said he's never. He said his favorite THL championship will be the next one.
Incredible! Wow.
Yeah, for the caliber player he is, to have him not be on a winning team, or not a winning team, but like a championship team, is kind of crazy. You would imagine with the amount of work and the time he's put in, how many seasons he's played, that at one point or another he would have won a championship. Itachi, you've won 2 now, I believe. Is that correct?
I've won 3.
3. You've won 2 in the last season span, right? Yeah.
Well, one in the last 3 seasons. So Legacy this season, and then Pro last season, and then Hero this season before that.
Yeah. So you're just always in the finals.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to name a trophy after you or something.
Do what?
I said we're gonna have to name a trophy after you if you keep doing this.
The LeBron. I'm just trying to be LeBron, man, because I got to the finals twice and lost twice, badly, and now it's just finals.
Yeah, I have lost in the finals once, so I do know the feeling. But I have also won one with Hero last season, so yeah, it's a much better feeling to win, as I'm sure everyone is aware.
Yeah, for sure.
But I put up on the screen the match that FTL played against A.E.O.N back in week 3, and the matchups for this week. And the interesting thing, first of all, as we mentioned, Mako was replaced with Typhoon, and also nobody is playing the same person that they played all the way back in week 3. So we got 5 completely unique matchups, which I like. I like that.
I'm also here to say that I outclassed Mason in class selections.
Okay,
in class selections,
go ahead.
I have a slight advantage.
Figured him out.
Is not the phrase I would use.
Well,
Yeah.
if you would,
by outclassed I mean advantage. Got an advantage from the classes.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, why would we speculate when we could take a look at the spread? Because I made a graphic for it.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Nice segue, by the way.
Thank you. So this is what we're seeing tonight, because as everyone knows, Pro is open decklist, so you can see exactly what archetype everybody's running, even though the text might be a little different. And keep in mind, these numbers are from the last 3 days, so they're a little bit different. I went Legend through 5 because that's all HS Replay has right now, but with the new ladder change, I'm sure that'll be updated. So on the left are Markshire's decks, the Galakron Rogue, Highlander Mage, Highlander Hunter, and Mech Paladin. And then Itachi, yours are across the top with Dragon Hunter, Res Priest, Galakron Warlock, and Mech Paladin as well. So I would say, I think the numbers definitely seem to favor Itachi's side a little bit, but I think there are certainly some advantages or disadvantages that could be gained or lost by queue order, and I think that'll be very interesting to see tonight.
For sure.
That's always the case. I wish you had told me before, so I would have run these stats to see the actual percentage of win.
These are the actual percentages. I don't know what more you wanted.
No, the percentage of winning, probability of winning the match given the ban.
Oh, you want to play Moneyball, Info Moneyball?
It's easy to run.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I should have given you a heads up.
So
I'll run this right now.
Weren't on the screenshot that Donde had, but I banned Priest and Itachi banned Rogue. Pretty expected. So it doesn't change things a ton, but yeah. If you want to do that, Lotus.
I'll get that right now.
Yeah, I think when we discussed, not to peel back the curtain too hard, but we discussed the ban. I think that was what we had expected was going to be the outcome as a team. I'm sure Itachi, you guys probably had your thoughts as well on that.
Yep, for sure.
So nothing surprising there. But I think taking away the Priest, it does take away 2 positive matchups for Markshire. but it also, in taking away the Rogue, one of those matchups would have been gone anyway. So, yeah, I think that still leaves quite a few coin flippy matchups kind of in that 49 to 51% range, but a couple like that Mech Paladin has some weak ones there. Well, Warlock in particular because Priest is banned, but like I said, should be interesting to see how you guys decide to order everything, which we're gonna see in 5 minutes here.
Yep.
Well, we will start in 5 minutes, but we'll obviously switch over to a 10-minute delay for everybody who's going to be tuning in. So there will be some downtime on the stream. But obviously we're not going to get into any strategy talk because I'm sure you guys will both say absolutely nothing to each other right now. But is any other thoughts? I'll start with you, Itachi. Any other thoughts on the match or anything that you want to say before we get going?
Not the strategy, just to win, I guess.
That's a good strategy.
Play well and win. Try not to throw. As long as I don't throw, I'm okay with the outcome, whether I win or lose.
That's almost exactly the same thing that I'm thinking. Yeah. Just gonna try to play well because that's all that you can control. One thing, just going back into like the overall FTL versus A.E.O.N matchups, this got mentioned in Discord briefly, but apparently the last time Ridiculous Hat and Rebobson played, Rebobson quit producing his Hearthstone. So I think that means that if Rebobson wins this time, Hat has to stop doing coin concede. So a lot on the line, even more than the THL championship.
I guess the question is, has Hat been looking for a replacement yet, or is he confident that he's not going to have to give up the podcast?
That's true. I don't. Hard to say.
He's been pretty busy starting up his streaming empire lately. He's been getting like 50 viewers a day. I don't know if you guys have been tuning in the middle of the day, but
yeah. Imagine if you'd been doing this instead of his day job.
Yeah, 12 p.m. to he's been doing like between 2 and 3 p.m. Eastern every day. So yeah, good couple hours stream. It's a nice chill place. So I highly recommend it. Yeah, we're plugging the commissioner's stream for him on. It's like this is like state-run radio right now.
Speaking of plug-in, if you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so for free with Twitch Prime. And the money gets used for everything THL.
It sure does.
Absolutely.
And speaking of other things that are THL related, Lotus, did you want to talk about the Demon Hunter tournament that's coming up before we jump into the match?
Oh yeah, Icer and I are organizing a Demon Hunter only tournament, and to give you guys a lot of time to prep, we decided to do this the day the expansion comes out. 6 hours after, something like that. So at 6 p.m. you get to submit your deck, and at 7 p.m. you get to play. It's going to be crazy. No one knows what the meta is going to be. What's even a Demon Hunter deck? If you don't know what Demon Hunter is, I don't know, just Google it. You'll find it. It's going to be fun. No one's going to know what they're doing. There are going to be way more misplays in the regular tournaments. You can register. We posted the link on the THL Discord, but you can also message me if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to help.
Lotus, would you say that by the time the tournament starts that people will not be prepared?
I think so. I think no one's going to be prepared for this one.
I was hoping you would give me your best Illidan impression.
I already sang. Doing impressions is just...
I forgot about the singing. Well, do you want to give us... did you come up with anything Moneyball-wise before we head off here? I'll give you the last word.
I didn't finish the numbers yet. I was starting to run them, but they're not done yet.
All right. Well, you got a couple minutes, and we'll take that at the start as we lead into the match here. So, that being said, HearthCenter's done. That was quick. We want to get into the match. I'm sure Markshire, I'm sure Itachi are ready to go as well. So we're going to go ahead and cut this off. You guys can get ready to do your thing. We'll hop into Hearthstone, and we'll see you guys in just a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks for being here, guys. And we will see everybody out there shortly. 10 minutes from now, sort of. Be right back.